Hey, I'm Supats, lifelong solopreneur. Now living my life with only one passion to help solopreneurs to launch their digital products on fast track so that they can be profitable as fast as within 1 week, and they want to scale, they can join the membership. And as a bonus, I show them how they can sell their digital products all over the world using affiliates. Without further delay, let's get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You podcast. And we are really excited you are joining us again. And I have been a solopreneur almost whole of my life. And many solopreneurs, they just have a dream or passion and they start business as a side hustle, and they really don't look at any legal requirements and so many things. And hey, that is how even I got started. And when you really start making revenue and when you start facing all the challenges, people think, oh, what I got myself into, what is this, what I what action I should do, and what action should I take, and how can I protect myself, how can I protect my business, how can I protect my all the belongings and earnings and all. Hey, that might be too late, but it is never too late. So best way is to contact a lawyer or attorney before you get started into your business. But hey, you know, the second best day is today. And we have Lauren just for that. She has been amazing in this field. And I was looking at her profile, and I was looking at her, whatever services she provides. And I felt like I need all of these services. And of course, I know my audience also needs. So without further delay, let me invite Lauren. Lauren Lester, stage is all yours. Welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You podcast. And I want to know more about your journey. How did you get started into your business?
Yes,
Tell
thank you
me.
so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and share with your audience today. So, like many attorneys, probably like a lot of solopreneurs, right? When I found out that I had passed the bar exam, I was so excited. I had climbed this huge mountain, taken one of the toughest exams in the world. I was right on the precipice of starting my own business, which had always been my dream. So, like much of your audience, right? All of that excitement was inside and I couldn't wait to hit the ground running. And then I had this sobering realization that I didn't actually know how to run a law firm. I didn't know how to run a business. They didn't teach me that in law school. They taught me how to be a lawyer, but I always wanted to be a solopreneur and have my own business. And so, like much of your audience, right, there's this sort of like, ooh, what do I do now? What's the first step that I take? I don't want to take any missteps. How do I know if I'm getting this right? There's a lot of doubt and almost hesitation, even though you're really excited to start on this new journey and build this business and have this impact in your community. So I just looked around at other law firms. I looked at folks who were in my space and I said, well, what are they doing? Because they look like they're successful. So maybe I should follow what they're doing. I asked other attorneys what they were doing, like many of your audience may have done, right? Asked other business folks, hey, how do you get payroll going? Or how do you sell your services? Or what do you do for marketing? All of those questions that come up. And in the legal field, I got a lot of the same answers. It was high billable hour rates, litigate everything, and keep costs really open ended. And the more that I heard about this, just something felt wrong about it. It just seemed like an odd way to run a business from the consumer standpoint, because here I was, a professional with a doctorate degree, making good money, saving diligently. And yet I realized that if I needed legal help, I'd be priced out of my own business if I built it that way, the way that most attorneys build their business. So if I couldn't afford these services and I should be in the best position being one of these professionals, what about my neighbors? What about my fellow solopreneurs out there who are in different spaces, right? What about my community? All these folks who were working really hard and doing everything, right financially, they were still going to be locked out of legal services too. And so I said when I started my business, I want to be a client of my own business. So I have to build it different and I have to build a better way. And that's what I set out to do. I got a lot of eye rolls, as I'm sure your audience may have, right? If you're trying things differently or in a new innovative space or just trying a better way, kind of ditching that this is the way we've always done it approach. There's a lot of eye rolls. There's a lot of mumbles under the breath of you're never going to be successful or that's never going to work, right? But I just use that skepticism to fuel me and become really determined to make it work. It definitely wasn't smooth. There were a lot of bumps in the road. I think entrepreneurship is not a linear line for anybody, right? It's ups and downs and backwards and twists and turns. So I stumbled through all of that, but eventually found my way and slowly pieced together this new model for a law firm. And it prioritized accessibility without sacrificing quality, profitability, or honestly, my own well being, which is a big struggle in the legal profession. And I know can be a really big struggle for other entrepreneurs, right? We put so much of ourselves into these businesses that we are building that it can really have a negative effect on our well being. So I wanted to make sure I prioritize that. So today I have a practice that helps folks protect their peace, all of those assets that they've worked really hard to save and to build up, whether it be upon getting married with prenups or upon death with estate planning. I help my clients protect their peace. And then I also have taken what I have learned as a solo attorney that allows me to have an annual revenue of at least $250,000 while working part time. I now help other lawyers build businesses just like that so that they can serve people and not just build them.
That is really amazing because I liked what you said. I was just making notes. You are your own client, and that is how the offer should be created. Because anytime I create offer, I just ask myself whether I'm going to buy my own offer, and if I can buy, then of course then I can sell it, and then I have a confidence. Okay, I know what value I'm providing. That is a really great strategy. Second thing you mentioned about no journey is linear line, and that is so true. Because if you are admitted into hospital and if your heart line shows linear, that means you are gone, you
Right.
are dead.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, it is always up and down, and that shows that's the life. So that's absolutely right. And I really liked another thing, you have range of offerings, means you can serve from uh, I think, yeah, from one extreme to other extreme, is prenup and all, and even from the business and all. So you are covering, you are, I think it is like a more like a one stop shop. I think I can just say that, because so many offerings, it is really amazing, it is really great. So solopreneurs, I always say that they quit 40 hours of job to get into their own business, and they end up working 80 hours. So burnout is really evident, because what happens, they wear so many hats. And most solopreneurs, they don't have that much of actually money lying in the bank, so that they can hire or outsource. So burnout is inevitable. So how can we avoid burnout? Because I personally experienced burnout for 2 months, and then I said I cannot live my life like that. So I want to know your insights on
Yeah,
that.
and this is something I think everyone struggles with. I'm not coming to this podcast or today saying I've never felt burnout. Actually, a couple of years ago, I thought about leaving the legal profession altogether. So I've been in those shoes, I've been in those trenches. And for me, it wasn't so much juggling working on the business and in the business at the same time, but the actual type of work that I was doing. But however, burnout, I think, comes to you when it hits you hard and it'll knock you down and really make you take a step back and think about, is this what I want to be doing? Is this worth it? And for me, that moment really knocked me on my head. Actually, came in the hospital bathroom of my youngest daughter. She was about 13 months at the time, and she had been diagnosed with RSV, respiratory illness. She had to be hospitalized for a few days, and it was really scary. She's tiny. She doesn't talk. My husband and I are taking shifts at the hospital. One of us is watching our older daughter, right? We're really stressed out. Is she going to be okay? Like, is this respiratory thing going to go away? This, I mean, ultimately could be fatal. And I had a client emergency come up that was quite frankly a manufactured emergency, but an emergency nonetheless. And I found myself hovered in my daughter's hospital bathroom on the phone trying to get this dealt with, and just had one of those out of body experiences. I don't know if any of your listeners have had this or you've had this, right? As we're working on these businesses. And I just sort of saw myself from above and thought, what am I doing? Like, my baby is in a hospital bed right now. I should be with her. I shouldn't be dealing with this quote unquote emergency that has come up. And so, man, when burnout hits you, it can hit you like a slap in the face. It can feel like it comes out of nowhere. But for me, that day was really pivotal, and changed how I approached my practice. I pivoted away from that particular practice area, but I also set really hard deadline, or excuse me, boundaries with myself and with my family. Because at the end of the day, being with my family, being a mom, being able to build this business, that gives me the life I want, first and foremost, became the priority. And so I took a step back and really looked at, what are my values? What do I want to have accomplished at the end of the day when I'm, lying on my deathbed, as morbid as it sounds? Do I want to look back and go, man, I really wish I worked more hours in my business? Probably not. I'm going to say, man, I wish I had more time with my kids, or I wish I took more vacations, or read more books, or cooked more, or whatever it is. And so I really made that list and then built my schedule around that. It was really hard in the beginning to keep so stringent when I would say, nope, you know what? I don't work on Fridays. I only work part time. Fridays are for me to do projects that I love or to spend time with my family. And there was always a client who's like, can you meet on Friday? What about Fridays? I can't do any other day. What about Fridays? So it's really hard, even when you put those boundaries up, to keep them sometimes. But that has been the biggest change for me, is identifying what I value most and then building my schedule around having time for those things that I value in addition to the business, and protecting that schedule with everything.
This is so true, and you learned it early on. Because if you have read Steve Jobs' last write up, it was full of
Mm.
regrets. Yeah, he said that people think that I'm very successful, but I didn't pursue any of my hobbies. I didn't have friends and this and that. And he said, no, here I'm on the sick bed and I can trade everything except the sick bed. So I'm really, yeah, I mean, it is so nice that you learned it early on. And hey, audience, even for you, okay, it's never too late to change, because we don't want our last write up to be full of regrets. So yeah, means burnout is real than ever. You can just, yeah. So thank you for the great tips. So I love your this format, work less and earn more systems. But how anyone can implement into their own life? Do you have any strategy? Can you give some
Yeah,
tips?
I think starting with your schedule first, and really focusing on the things that you want to be doing and having time for that already built in, and then building your work time or your business around it. I like thinking of my business as a life first business. And so starting there with your schedule and then building out from there, once you have the time that you have dedicated to work on your business, making sure you're working on things that are going to move the needle, that are going to serve more clients, that's really going to have an impact. I think we all get caught up in talking to someone or seeing something online. All these like great ideas come up. And we're like, maybe we should do that, or maybe we should add that to the business. And those can all be wonderful. And within time, I think that that can happen. But really taking a step back and going, okay, is that really what I need to be working on today? Is that going to move the needle? Or is that just a new, cool, shiny thing that's maybe more of a distraction? And for me, one of the biggest ways that I have built a life first business is actually my pricing model, which for services like law firms, right, they're historically built on the billable hour. I know a lot of other entrepreneurs probably aren't, but really thinking about your services and your products and what you're selling, and basing your pricing on the value of them. I think a lot of service professionals in particular it's easy just to say, well, I'll just bill you for my time. And I have always billed based on the value that I provide to the client. So that allows me to be highly successful and profitable. My clients love it because they know what to expect and they're actually paying for what they want to get from me, right? They're not paying for a document, they're paying for the peace of mind, for example. So it allows me to know exactly what cash flow I need, what my revenue is going to be. And that then trickles down to, well, how many consultations do I need to have? What's my conversion rate? Does that all work within the schedule I have set up for my business? And once you figure that bit out, get the marketing to get those leads in, then it's just kind of a well-oiled machine. And as long as you keep it up, the leads keep coming in, and I need 10 new clients a month, whatever it is. And as soon as I get those clients, I say, thanks so much, I'm good. And I serve them really well so that the next 10 come in. But I try to get off that treadmill of more, 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 and really define, what is enough for me personally and within my business. And, if somebody else is making $100 million business law firm, that's awesome. It's easy to get caught up in that. But for me, at the end of the day, that's not really what I'm focused on. So my business is focused on hitting the number that's really comfortable for me and my family, and then having the rest of the time to do my hobbies and go on vacation and read books, or just relax outside. I live in Colorado, so we have beautiful scenery here, and just being able to spend time outside. It's really kind of knowing what you want and then the steps that you would need to take there. But I think pricing can be a really great tool to make sure that you're pricing based on your value and not just your time.
That is so good. So means basically you are in Colorado. Do you
I
ski?
snowboard, yes.
Okay, snowboard. That, yeah, and I really liked your points. You said shiny object syndrome, and I think that is the problem with solopreneurs, and even I experienced that. Because what happens, we want to learn, and we want to implement the best strategy, and everyone is presenting their strategy. We think, oh, so whatever we are doing, we'll just leave that aside and go for the new one. And since you didn't finish the previous strategy, of course it is not going to give you the result, and then you're going for the next one. So that is just like a, yeah, never ending thing. And also I like what you said, the setting of the priorities, because that is so important. Because as a solopreneur, you are wearing many hats. So first of all, that is what even I did. So I got up and I started doing the things which are more comfortable for me to doing, and not the prioritized. And then I would spend whole day, and at the end of the day I would say, oh, I didn't achieve anything, and I felt so useless, I didn't feel productive. And because, yeah, as a solopreneur you can wear many hats. You can wear admin hat, graphic designer hat, or CEO hat. But the low value task, if you just spend time over there, at the end you won't achieve anything. So this is so good. I mean, just make the priority, make the list of 3 or 5 things, and when those also you prioritize, and once you go ahead, you finish. And you may not finish everything on the list, but still at the end of the day you will feel that you achieved something,
Yeah.
right? So that is such a great point. I really appreciate. And yeah, life is about experiences, and you mentioned the experiences, and that is so important. Because yeah, someone might be making hundreds of millions of dollars and all, no doubt about it. But finally, when you go to sleep, you just sleep in one room. Yeah, you may have 3 5 houses, whatever it is, but you just need one room to sleep. You need just one bed to sleep. But if you enrich your life with all these great experiences, that will be so rewarding. And we are on this earth for experiences, right? Means no doubt about
Yeah, I
it.
mean, there's that
So
old, wise adage, and it's wise for a reason, that says, right, no matter how much money you have, you can't buy time or even your health. And those are the two things that I have always tried to prioritize: is how do I actually want to be spending my time? And part of that is, can I spend time that's going to nourish me and take care of my body and my mind and my spirit and all of that? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you could be the richest person in the world, but there's no one to pay to get that time back.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So, who is your ideal customer? To whom do you help and how do you help
Yeah, so
them?
like I said, I live in Colorado, so I'm licensed in Colorado. So I help everyday Coloradans who've worked really hard to build the life that they have wanted, and I help them protect that. So they have houses and they have retirements and kids often, and they just want to make sure that the assets that they have built up are protected, especially if they're getting married, or that their family is going to be protected should something happen to them. So that is my ideal client, is just those folks, everyday folks in Colorado who are working really hard and want to have a really meaningful life.
So, how about me? For example, I live in California. Can you
So I
help
can
me?
help you. So attorneys are licensed in particular states. Some are licensed in multiple states. I'm just licensed in Colorado. But if you find an attorney who is licensed in California under their licensing procedures, then they can certainly help you with any of those needs. So whether it's estate planning, prenups or postnups, if you're getting married, certainly business formation or anything like that, you just need to find somebody in your particular state for those very state specific areas of law.
I'm looking at your site, and these questions or these challenges are really means enticing me. For example, a marketing approach that fails to generate qualified leads. I think it is one of the I think most needed service. So, tell if someone has this challenge, how can you help
Yeah,
them?
so that is my site, a differentpractice.com, where I focus on helping other solo attorneys generate $250,000 a year at least while working part time. And one of the things that we work on is marketing because it's really hard. It feels very foreign to attorneys, as it probably feels for most solopreneurs who haven't been in that space. It can feel kind of icky, that sales process. And so we try and have a method that really focuses on the client first. Your audience may be familiar with Donald Miller's story brand approach. So it's very much along the lines of that, where all of the marketing content that we produce is what's going to be most helpful for our target market. Lawyers love to talk about themselves. And so a lot of lawyers, like, their marketing is all me, 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 me. Look at the school I went to, look at the awards I've won, look at all this stuff I've done. But when you put yourself in the client's shoes or your customer shoes, they're thinking, that's great for you, but how does that help me solve my problem? So we really, when I work with attorneys and any solopreneur, really is really hone in on their marketing message. Who is their target client? What is the problem or problems that they're facing that you can help them with? And how do you communicate that you understand those problems and you have a solution for them? I think that shift in marketing versus it being kind of just a billboard about yourself is really going to start to attract those clients that you want to work with. And then the sales process becomes a lot easier because you're not really selling. You're just saying, hey, I get what your problem is. I understand it. That's really challenging. And here are some solutions I have to be able to help you with it.
This is so important because I have a team, and I was creating new offer, and my team created the offer page, and they created offer page, and they wrote everything about me. Okay, that how much educated I am, I have double masters, then how I had an accident, I was bedridden for 1 year, and this everything. And when I read at the offer page, and I said, anyone who is coming to this page, they are thinking, what's in it for me? They have only
Yep.
that channel. They don't care whether I was bedridden. Of course, means I can tell my story later on if I want to relate to them and tell them I had challenges too, but that is not the focal point. They don't care if I have double masters. The only question they have, whether can you help me solve my problem.
Exactly.
And I said, just take out everything whatever you have written here and just think from that person's point of view. uh, yeah, means it was so funny. I kept on reading. I said, okay, if I put myself into their shoes, they won't care for a single sentence what is written over there. And my team understood. So yeah. And what about the services if they are offering and they are not profitable? What can they do?
Yeah, I think looking at, what it really is the value that you're providing. So the problem that you're solving with that service, ultimately what is the client paying you for? So is it peace of mind? Is it reducing their risk that they may have? Is it taking the task off of their plate because they're so busy, right? They don't have the time. So you're saving them the time. Are you offering them a solution that's higher quality, but more efficiently produced? So you're saving them the cost there, right? It's really focusing in on what truly is the value that you're providing, and then what is the price for that value. We talk about it in legal terms for attorneys that bill by the hour. There could be a really complicated, let's say, contract dispute. So two sides who are not getting along, everybody wants to get paid something. They feel like the other side didn't do something, and maybe one of your clients is one of them, and they're at risk of losing, $10 million if this contract blows up. If you just focus on, well, the time I spend, you could spend that time doing a whole bunch of stuff that's not really helpful. Attorneys, a lot of times we do research, especially with nuanced legal issues. So let's say one attorney that you're thinking about hiring is like, oh, great, I'm going to do all this research. I'm going to spend 10 or 20 hours doing it. And then I'll let you know some solutions when we get to the end. But that attorney ends up kind of just running into dead ends and they don't find a different solution. But man, they spent 20 hours. Or if you talk to another attorney who says, I've got a lot of experience in this space, let me think on it for, a little bit and come back to you. Maybe they think about it for 10 minutes. They're taking a walk and all of a sudden they have a brilliant idea. And they go, oh, this is how we solve it. This is how we save you $10 million. We get that contract fixed. Everybody's happy. We can move on. It took them 10 minutes based on their experience, and they come back to you and say, I got it. Here's the solution. Right. The client is going to say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You saved us $10 million. They might be willing to pay you $1 million for that because you saved them 10 million. So it's really not about the time you spend, but the value that you're providing. And it's thinking about it in those terms. So if you feel like your prices aren't profitable, you're spending maybe too much time, clients aren't or kind of taking it for taking advantage of it because maybe the cost is too low or they're demanding too much. It's really sitting back and saying, okay, for this service, what am I actually giving my customer? And what is the value to them for that? And oftentimes it can be much higher than we often will price ourselves. So doing some market research to really find out, hey, if you have this really complicated problem and here's a solution that will give you peace of mind or reduced risk or save you time or give your family a legacy or whatever it is, what would you pay for that? Being able to have your target market tell you, oh, I would pay $5,000 for that, or I'd pay you $500, or I'd pay you a $500,000, whatever it is, that can be really helpful versus just focusing on the time that you're spending, or maybe even often sometimes the work product in the legal space. If you're delivering some sort of paper to them, that's often not what they're purchasing. They're purchasing, something that goes with that paper that gives them intrinsically. So really focusing on that and asking yourself, like you said, if you're the client of your own business, what would you pay to have those benefits by working with this particular company? That's ultimately what they're paying. So usually when you focus on that, the price can get adjusted and then you will become more profitable, especially the more efficient that you become in delivering those services.
I got really many good points, but just wanted to mention 2 points. First of all, learn from others. Yeah, means basically you are paying for their experiences. Yeah, it is good to learn from your mistakes, but it is always better to learn from somebody else's mistakes. And that is a really shortcut because you can make money, but hey, the time gone is gone. So that is so important. And second thing, even I need to implement your value first strategy because I have a membership is loaded with almost like a $50,000 worth of resources, plus I provide hands-on help, plus I have a collaboration database. So it's a lot. And I got my membership evaluated, and I was being told that I can easily charge like 199 per month, and right now I'm charging just like a $39 per month. So even I should do that because I compared all other membership models and nobody's providing what ours is providing. And I think members also take you then seriously when they know that okay means you are charging for what you are worth, because mine is like a low ticket or mid ticket
Mm,
membership, and then some people take seriously, some not, because hey, not too much of investment, because when you pay you money, when you pay any kind of resources, you pay attention. But if there is no skin in game, then basically yeah, you may not even commit, and then you won't move the needle in your business. So this is so important. Even I should implement that, even though I'm not a lawyer. But whatever principles you are telling, they are applicable for any solopreneur, and I'm really thank you for that. And another thing, solopreneurs also, they are always worried about they will run out of
mm,
money, because they I have seen solopreneurs, especially in my world, the digital business world. Many solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first product. Many entrepreneurs don't see second year in their business. Those who see second year, many of them don't see fifth year in the business. So because of all this fear, they don't do investment, they don't take proper decisions. And even they they are, like you said, that some attorneys are scared of sales and marketing. So some solopreneurs, they have passion, they start into business, but then they want to stay away from sales and marketing, so they don't see the revenue. So how can they overcome this fear of running out of
Yeah,
money?
it's a great question, a fear I think we all have, because like you said, right, we're the engine. So if the engine stops running, and the business isn't making any money, that's not going to be good for anybody. And so I think it really comes down, at least for me, to making it a simple math problem. I think a lot of folks can make, and maybe for good reason, revenue and sales and marketing complicated, and ROIs and KPIs and all of these acronyms. But for me, it really started with equation, which is how much money do I want to make, for myself personally. I'm a true solopreneur. I don't have any staff. So it was really just that income for me. I needed to know, how much do I need to be able to pay the government for taxes? How much do I need to just keep the lights on, and keep things running? And then I built in a profit, right? The extra cushion, the gravy on top, so that I wasn't just a business that was cash in, cash out, kind of, paycheck to paycheck. So, how can I build in that profit margin, whatever that might look like, or you would feel comfortable with? And once I knew what that number was, kind of that target revenue was, I went back and sort of reverse engineered it and said, okay, the average sale that I make is going to be, let's say, $2,000 for easy math. If my target revenue is 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, I have to sell X number of sales, to be able to do that. And all of us have 12 months in a year. So, if I have to sell 100, let's do 120 because I'm not great at math, right? That means 10 a month, right? Every month is 10, and you get 120 by the end of the year. And if the average cost of each of those hits your target revenue, great. And then it's working back from there and going, okay, if I have to sell 10 a month, how many people do I need to talk to? And that's going to depend on each of our businesses, right? Whatever your conversion rate is, you'll be able to know if it's 100%, then you need to talk to 10 people. If it's 50%, you need to talk to 20 people, and be able to have that conversation with them and learn what their problems are, what their pain points are, offer them your services. But then you'll just know, okay, I got to talk to 20 people. How am I going to do that, right? Am I going to be making videos? Am I going to be going to networking events? Am I going to be hitting the ground, knocking on doors? Whatever it is, I think breaking it down to really simple math, and not letting it be so complicated, for me has been really helpful. And then I just know, I got to make sure I put in X number of consultations every week. As long as I hit that, the rest of it kind of flows from there. And if I ever wanted to make more revenue, then I would just increase all the numbers, so that it really was just a simple math equation.
Thank you. Actually, we are running out of time, but still, I have two questions because these are so important. So, what about people? They have a generic mission and they don't have any specific niche or a specific direction. What can they
Yeah,
do?
I think having a specific direction and target market is going to be really important. Otherwise, you don't know who you're talking to or what their problem is, right? I mean, if you just start talking to everybody on planet Earth, everybody's got all different problems. I really ran I think we're all really afraid of niching down and getting really specific about our target market. And I didn't do that for a long time. And it felt really hard. It felt hard to market. It felt hard to talk to people because it was all these folks coming from different spaces with different problems that were slightly related. But as soon as I got really specific, it was a lot easier to make marketing. It was a lot easier to have communications with people. So it feels very counterintuitive to think of a very specific market that you're trying to target and a very specific problem that you're solving. But as soon as you do that, it makes everything flow easier. And then I think you can always expand. If you get really good at that, and then you want to add a new target market and a new problem, great. But starting big and trying to cast a wide net for businesses, I just don't think works really well. Like there should be one thing, right, that you do really well and everyone knows you for that.
I liked what you said, because when you're talking to everybody, actually you are communicating with nobody. That is so true. That is really true. Now the last question. It is really important. So I'm still going over time, but I want to ask. So what are the sales method? And means solopreneurs, they want the leads to be coming consistently in, and but they generally go from feast to famine, that kind of cycle. So, what do you suggest? What should they
I think
do?
if you want consistent leads coming in, you've got to put consistent marketing going out. And so that can be really hard, especially when you're busy because you're like, oh, great, I don't need to worry about marketing. I've got all these leads coming in. But marketing and sales in particular in our market is not I turn it on today, I'm going to have leads tomorrow. Like there's a lead time there, there's a lag. There could be a runway that you've got to ramp up on. So I think the biggest thing is staying consistent with your marketing and outreach, even when you're busy, because that will keep your pipeline open where folks are consistently hearing about you, certainly leaning into your existing clients, getting any new or additional services from them. That's a great place to start, but also, encouraging them to leave reviews or tell their friends and family or other folks about you. So leaning into that network, but it's not something that you just do in the beginning frenetically and then you get a bunch of leads and you say, great, I'm done, I can stop doing this. It's really staying. If you want consistent leads, stay consistent with your marketing efforts.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Because when the plane flies, if they stop putting
The
the
fuel in, yep.
yeah, any effort, yeah, it's gonna come down. So I'm so thankful. Really appreciate your insight. So if someone wants to look for you, someone wants to follow you, someone wants to contact you, what are the best channels? Where can they look
Yeah.
for?
So if you're looking for any kind of coaching within the business space, particularly solo attorneys, you can find me at a differentpractice.com. That's ADIFFERENTPRACTICE.com. You can schedule a free call with me there. And then also, I'm available on LinkedIn. If you just search for my name, Lauren Lester, you'll be able to find me, and I would love to connect.
Thank you. I really appreciate. So, just want to ask you, if I didn't cover any particular thing, but you want to share, you can please share. So, right now, you can give a parting message.
Oh, I just want to encourage all the solopreneurs out there that you aren't alone. I think one of the biggest challenges we have is we work in a silo, right? We're solos. So it's just us. So whether you're listening to this podcast, know that there's a huge community out there that feels you, is in the trenches with you, and ready to support you. So find that community for yourself. And I would love to be a part of that to continue encouraging and supporting you.
What is a great nugget of advice? Because solopreneurs are not understood by anyone. Their friends, family, if they are not solopreneurs, they are not understood. Only one solopreneur understands other solopreneurs. So find a community and, yeah, be part of them, so that others are also going through the same challenges and how they are overcoming. Find a mentor who can look at your blind spots and help you. So really great. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate you coming and blessing our community, blessing our family. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate, and God bless you. Keep up the great work.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. It was such a joy.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for joining us. We are blessed to have you as part of our community, and whatever way we can help you, serve you, let us know. Please subscribe and let us know how we can help you, what resources you want. We have lots of free resources and also free collaboration joint venture groups you can join and explode your business, because most solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first products, and I don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we have special launch service where you can monetize your digitals and become profitable as fast as within 7 days. And if you want to scale your business, join our membership New Beginning Success Collaboration, where we'll provide you MRR and PLR products and collaborations so that you can scale your business with ease and effortlessly. And hey, if you want to sell your digitals all over the world, yes, we will provide you affiliates more than 200 countries. So everything is possible. Just live your dream, follow your dream, and whichever way we can help you, do let us know. Thank you and God bless you.